Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Samantha Farley, and I am a type 1 diabetic as of February 18th, 2021. And today I want to talk about cures for type 1 diabetes. So there's a lot of misconceptions about what type 1 diabetes is, if there's cures, if there's not cures, if there are cures, what are the cures, and all of that. And what I want to come on here today to tell you is there is a difference between type 1 and type 2. And there's not even just those two types of diabetes. There's actually like 5 or 6 more. There's a lot of different types, a lot of different scenarios, diabetes in general, and it's really important to know the difference between them all, because sometimes there can be a cure and sometimes there's not. Most of the times there's not. And today I'm here to talk about type 1 diabetes and its cure. So the first thing to really determine is, what does cure mean? Basically, what it means is to get rid of the problem, get rid of the issue, to cure it, right? It's to make everything better and back to normal. Well, with type 1 diabetes, there is no cure. There is a cure, sort of, for type 2 diabetes, which is completely different than type 1. Most people know about type 2 diabetes just because it is more prominent in the world. 1 in 10 people have type 2 diabetes. I have type 1, which right now the numbers are about 1 in 100. So 1 in 100 people have type 1 and 1 in 10 people have type 2. So the reason a lot of people know about diabetes is because of type 2, how prominent it is. And you hear a lot about it on like TV commercials with medications out there and all of that. Somehow diabetes got a really bad rap. Usually when you ask people what is diabetes or how did someone get diabetes, they all usually say, oh, because they're unhealthy or they're overweight or they didn't work out, they eat bad foods, they ate sugar and all this stuff. Well, that's actually not true. So I'm here to tell you that it's not true about diabetes. This connotation that diabetes is bad and we gave it to ourselves and all of that is not true. Everybody understand that? Not true. And the difference between type 1 and type 2, and I've actually gone into this deeper in another video, so make sure to watch that because I don't want to go into that today. I want to talk about cures, but I think it's really important to know the difference, because for type 2 diabetes, which is the one you hear about a lot on TV and in movies and just around the media, there can be a cure. And what I mean by cure when I say that is it is reversible in some instances. So not every single person that has type 2 diabetes, it can be reversed. It kind of just depends on the individual scenario. Usually it can be reversed if it was because of health reasons. So if you happen to maybe not take care of yourself, over several years, and when it came to fitness and health and nutrition, and then you got overweight and you happen to lose that weight and become healthier and start actually taking care of yourself, there is a chance it can become reversible. So yes, technically there can be a cure, I guess, in that sense. However, I'm here today to talk about type 1, which is what I have, and there is no cure. None, no matter what I do, no matter how healthy I eat, no matter how much insulin I take, there are no cures for type 1 diabetes. Right now, that's the case because type 1, you get type 1 usually because of a virus. So type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disease where your pancreas basically stops working. And so it stops producing insulin, which is what you need to break down sugars in your body, which is glucose. And because a virus killed my pancreas, once again, if you don't know my story, go watch my diagnosis video. I actually have 2 on there, one from when I was actually diagnosed and one most recently at my 1-year anniversary. But because a virus attacked my pancreas, there's no way to get it to start working again because it literally killed my pancreas. So Like you all know, when someone dies, they can't be, reborn again, no matter what you believe, Christianity or whatever, reincarnation. I mean, it just can't happen in this lifetime. And the same is for my pancreas. It's dead now. It's not going to start working again, most likely. I mean, they've never seen that happen before in a type 1 diabetic. So it's most likely not going to happen to me. And so there are no cures for type 1 diabetes, which is extremely unfortunate because it's a unfortunate autoimmune disease where, we constantly think about it 24/7, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and not many people know how much work we do with our diabetes each day, but there is no cure. A lot of people, though, think there are cures for type 1 diabetes, and while there's no official cure, there are things that keep us alive, which is amazing because 100 years ago, there was nothing there to keep someone alive. So 100 years ago, before insulin was created, if you were diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, you were going to die. And that seems kind of scary when you say it out loud, but it's true. When you were diagnosed 100 years ago, 100 plus years ago, you were going to die because there's no solution to keep you alive. So basically, when you have type 1 diabetes, you have no insulin in your body. And so when you eat food, that will turn eventually into glucose in your body. And glucose needs to stay in a range. And when it doesn't stay in that range, and when you eat, your blood glucose will go up. Eventually, depending on how high it wants to go, you will end up passing away. Your body will give up on itself because there's too much sugar, too much glucose in the blood, in the body, and your body just can't handle it. And so you end up passing away. Now, thankfully, 100 years ago, insulin was created. Somebody found how to make insulin. I don't know his name on the top of my head, but he created insulin. And now everyone with type 1 diabetes is able to continue their lives, which is exciting. But there's no cure. So there's two different things there. And I think a lot of people get confused also, because a lot of people think insulin is a cure, and that is not true. We still have to take insulin every day. We have to manually take it. I mean, pump, pens, whatever it is, and however you take your insulin, we still have to manually basically do it. I mean, there's a lot of technology out there these days that help with the process, but we still have to manually do it. And that is not a cure. A cure would be if our pancreas magically started working again, but my pancreas is still dead and it still does not work. But I did want to show you what I do for my insulin, because God love insulin. It keeps me alive every single day. If we didn't have insulin, it's about 7 days, 5 to 7 days that we would stay alive. So if I just stopped taking insulin right now, I would probably die in 7 days, which is, once again, freaky. I don't like saying that out loud because it freaks me out, but it's true. We really, really need insulin in our bodies. Everybody does. The difference between me and you, unless you're also a type 1 diabetic watching, if you are, comment below, let me know. But if you're not, if you're someone just here trying to learn about diabetes, your pancreas works. And so your pancreas produces insulin on its own. That's the role of the pancreas, and it works. Your pancreas is alive and well. Mine is not. Mine's dead. And so I have to manually give myself insulin. The way I do that is through pens. And so I have, guys, don't judge me, but I keep it in a little snack baggie and I put it in my purse. There are a lot of better ways to do that, but I actually have not found a good bag for my insulin, which, business idea, I'm actually considering creating a pen bag as a business, kind of more just to help me, because I don't like carrying it in this baggie, but there's no other. All the bags I find online are huge, and I have a really small purse. So I don't know. Let me know if that's something you'd like too. Maybe I'll create it. Back to what I was saying. So I use pens for my insulin. I would actually say most people are on some sort of pump right now because of the technology out there these days. There are so many great options for giving yourself insulin, and there are lots of different pumps. I think the two main pumps are Tandem and Omnipod, and most people I know are on one of those. That's not the only way to give insulin though. So there's also pens, which is what I use right now. And honestly, I still use pens because I was only diagnosed a year ago. And right now my levels are pretty even. Like I don't struggle that. I mean, some days I do, don't get me wrong, but most of the time I'm doing okay and I can manage it well with pens. So I'm just going to stick with pens. Eventually I might want to go on a pump. I'm considering Omnipod. I'm trying to learn a little bit more about it before I obviously go on it. But right now I like the pens. I like how easy it is. I don't mind giving myself a shot. So that's what I use. So I don't know if you guys can see this. So if you've had diabetes for a while, you've probably used a pen at some point in your life. If you're new to diabetes, you also might be on pens just because that's what they gave you at first to get started. And if you're maybe a caregiver, I don't know actually what they do for kids right away. Like I said, I was diagnosed a year ago. I was 29 when I was diagnosed. So I actually don't know what they do for kids. And I would love to know though, because I think it's quite tragic what happens to little kids and diabetes. But anyway, I am actually on, if you guys can read that, I don't know if it's backwards, but the Humalog, and I'm on the junior pen. So here we go. There we go. I'm on the junior pen because I give myself so little insulin still. It's actually like remarkable. When I talk to some people who have had it for a long time or got diabetes when they were a kid, they all take more insulin than I do. So most people take, well, like I said, it's different for every single person. But for example, like this girl I've met in Denver that has diabetes, she said she is about 1 in 7 right now. So she takes 1 unit of insulin for 7 carbs. And I'm 1 unit of insulin for 30 carbs. So if you see that difference, so for, one meal, that's 30 carbs, I would take 1 unit and she would take 3 to 4, 3.5. So it's kind of different for each person. Like I mentioned, insulin is not a cure, but it keeps me alive for now. And there's been a lot of talk around cures these days about type 1 diabetes cures. Some guy went on Good Morning America and I was getting a million texts from all my friends saying that type 1 diabetes is a cure. And while I would love for there to be a cure, and I would love for my pancreas to start working again, I'm not going to assume that that's going to happen. Even when I read the article about the man who, I don't even know what he did. He did something to his body, somehow put in new red blood cells, and it seemed to work. His pancreas started working again. Even said if that were to be a solution, if that were to be a cure, it would take 5 to 10 years, through FDA approvals, case studies, all of that to actually give it to people. So even if they found out that there was a cure today, I still most likely wouldn't get the cure for 5 to 10 years. They also mentioned that it would be extremely expensive to get this cure. While once again, I don't know what extremely expensive means. They didn't say, but I'm sure it's something that would cost all of us our lifetime in cash. We'll see. So I'm not crossing my fingers. I'm not hoping that it's going to happen in 5 to 10 years. I would love for it to happen in my lifetime at some point, but I would rather just start to learn my body, learn how my pancreas doesn't work, but how my body works with the pen insulin and kind of go from there. So this is currently my cure, but once again, it is not a cure. It is just a solution right now to manage my blood sugar levels so I don't die. Really, I just wanted to show that there is no actual cure for type 1 diabetes at this time. I will continue to update you if things pop up, in the news about cures and solutions, but I don't want to give anyone hope and then it not happen. I also don't want to be negative about it. I mean, obviously, I hope there's a cure at some point in my life, but really the chances of that happening are slim. This video was about cures, and if type 1 diabetes has a cure, and it does not, we only have solutions for the time being to keep us going. There are a lot of tech tools out there that help it as well, but the real thing that keeps us alive is insulin. If we don't have insulin, we will die in 5 to 7 days. And so if you know anybody who's struggling to purchase their insulin, help them out, because we will literally die. It's not a joke when we talk about how expensive insulin is. It is very, very expensive, and not everybody can afford it. And so anyway, if you guys have any questions about type 1 diabetes, insulin, cures, no cures, the difference between type 1, type 2, let me know and I'd be happy to answer it for you. I also wanted to let you know I am doing an interview series with other type 1 diabetics. And if you want to watch these interviews, let me know. I will put a link below to my interview series link. This will get you access to all of my interviews. I've already had 3. I have a few more scheduled, and I'm going to keep them going. But the only way to get access to these interviews is to join the sign up form. I might put them on YouTube eventually, but right now that's not the plan. So if you want them, sign up for the email list. I actually have 2 email lists going. One is just my personal stories, but then 2 is the interview series. So sign up for whichever one you want. Sign up for both. Sign up for none. I don't care. I'm just sharing this with you. So anyway, I will be back next week sharing more goods about type 1 diabetes with you. And I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. Talk to you soon.